Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for a purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. For uses of use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, education, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Now let's start this dang show.
You gonna have any fights this week? Oh man, we gotta have some fights.
What is up, Raider Nation? We are 1 week away. 1 week away from the draft. Are you ready? Are you ready for all that drama? Asylum, are you ready for next week's draft? Next week's draft.
I mean, we're going to be one of three ways, right? We're going to be happy, pissed off, or saying, what the fuck?
Well, we said that last year after Brock Bowers, but came out pretty good. Turned out pretty well. So we were like, wait, we got a tight end.
We've also said what the fuck and it not worked out too.
Oh yeah, well that was many times though. So hopefully it doesn't happen again this year. But
as Raiders fans, we say what the fuck a lot.
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen this year, and that's why we're doing this episode. Is we're gonna try to bless some good juju.
Hey, Jason's calling you out, by the way.
Yeah, well, this is probably one of the only shows out there in our tier that really put a lot of effort into each show. So sometimes it might be late. We're on Puerto Rican time. You're married to a Puerto Rican, so you're on Puerto Rican time. You're in a different time zone from me and you. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
You got to get everything meshing and working, and then bam, magic happens.
Hey, but you know what? During the tailgates, sometimes some people didn't walk in until after kickoff because they were still partying too hard in the tailgates, and that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do some sacrifice shots for our Jobu to get this draft going in the right Juju, yeah, the good Juju direction. I am the Ultimate Savage, and as always, a silent Mr. Jim Otto himself.
Jason, no. Puerto Ricans are worse. Trust me. All Puerto Ricans will be late to their own damn funeral. Puerto Ricans are worse. Sorry.
That I cannot argue that because I've seen it. So it is what it is, But before we get into why we're all here, hopefully everyone got their drinks, got their shot glasses ready. If you have a cage match shot glass like we do, or if you need one, let us know.
I suggest you use that.
Yeah, see? I have my special cage match See, no one knows what bottle this is, because it's a cage match elixir.
I do. It's a cage match exclusive bottle that the the alcohol in it was made by yours truly.
Well, and that note, let's go, before we start the ritual, let's go into our favorite, what's it called? Favorite segment. I want to keep saying,
plug, whatever.
You know what it is. The shameless
And
plug.
another shot glass.
Hey, Anna. We sent her some koozies too. Because she emailed us and we went, boom, shot it right over there. So if you want a koozie
like
also,
that, like magic.
like Mike Madden, boom, free koozie. Just email us. Free koozie. All right, but before we do all that, let's go into our favorite segment. There we go. The shameless plug asylum. Here we go.
All right, everybody go to the YouTube channel, The Cage Match Show. Like, share, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit that bell. That way you know anytime a video is short drops. If Roger Goodell decides to flap his little cocksucker and wants to mess with us, you can always catch us on Facebook. First at Oakland Raiders Savage's page, Oakland Raiders Savage, or my page, Asylum. And then when you're done with all that, when the show's over, right before you're going to go watch some other content creators, then go visit WGG. Browse their variety of different energies, because you know what? By the time we get off, we know it's late for some people. So you need that energy in order to stay up and be able to continue watching. And then when you go check out, put Cage Match, one word, in the discount code to get 10% off your entire order.
And like we always say, when you think of wins, think of dubs. When you think of dubs, think of Dubby. Get that energy like, I'm going to change it up, like Pete Carroll at 73. All the unlimited energy. Get that with Dubby, GG. Go to the discount code, like Asylum said, one word, Cage Match, CAGEMATCH, and get your discount right there, 10%. And also, shouts out to the Compa Fabian. Go to www.lafer.com. Go there, check out his stuff, his catalog. He has a lot of great stuff. And like we said, he's the one that made our koozies and our lanyards, which I have that somewhere around here, but our koozies. So we always shout him out. Thank you very much, Fabian. So make sure you go check that out. And also shouts out to ReadyMan19, ReadyMan19.com. We're trying to get him onto the draft show next week. Got to see. Told you this guy is busy now. You know, he's starting to get his content up. He's doing his thing. So we want to try to get him next week. But we always shout him out for doing the Raider Oath at the end of our intro video. So we shout him out. And speaking of that Raider Oath, we want to try to have him go to the torch this upcoming season in 2025 at Allegiant Stadium in front of 65,000 Raider fans going into that stadium with the Oakland Mystique mixed with the Las Vegas Raider way, to everybody at the lighting that torch and saying, I am a Raider fan. So we always shout out the man himself, Raiderman 19 from the original Lot D at the Oakland Coliseum with a black hole. Started. All right, Asylum.
That's me.
That is you. You were there in the beginning. You're part of the mystique. So,
hey, I started the Asylum mystique there.
Yes. So before we go into what we're all here for, let's talk about this upcoming draft. Now you see, these are updated. The needs of the players that the top 16s, because we're number 6, need. And for us, NFL.com has us running back, receiver, cornerback, offensive line, and then linebacker. So what we're going to do is just kind of dive into the history a little bit of when this is just the number 1 picks, not the first pick in the draft, meaning there was some couple years like in 2012 where we didn't get the pick until number 3. So, to the 3rd round. So this is just the number 1, the first round draft picks, the first round draft picks. And in these particular positions, running back, receiver, cornerback, offensive line, linebacker. And we're just going to kind of dive into it, look at the players that were picked. And we're going to take a shot for Jobu to bless, if we get that position if we draft that position to bless that player, bless that position, and not have any more
Get rid of the bad juju for certain positions.
Yes, we don't want to have any more bad first rounders. I know last year we had Brock Bowers, and we were surprised because we went for a player, a best player available at that time. We don't know what this new regime is going to do, if they're going to go a BPA or if they're going to go by need. So we're going to make sure that the need positions are blessed. So Asylum, without further ado, let's it's up there, right? I have it up there. I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Okay. So let's go into while we're all here and introduce our Jobu. Here we go. Jobu.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Wait. The background? That one?
No, the intro.
I didn't see the intro up there.
Sí.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
Ayúdame en este momento para que me des el poder para conquistar el cuerpo. Te daré mi devoción para siempre poderoso.
All right. And then, okay, now the background. And now the background. All right, here we go. Okay. We got our Juju gear, and we need our Juju music. Here we go. All right, Asylum. In order for us to do this, we also need our snake. Do we have our snake? And what is his name?
It's Stabler, of course. You know, Stabler's never been a Raider.
All right, here we go. Now, the first one on there. All right, let's go. We got so much stuff on here. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but you won't give me a hard time for fighting shit.
Yeah, well, that's called life, okay? All right, here we go. First one. Now you saw in here, we have running back, the position running back. They have that as first. I know Genty is one that people are talking about. So we're going to talk about round one running backs. Okay, Asylum, here it is right here. Overall, the Raiders had selected 5 running backs in the first round. Five. The first one, Tony Lorick in 1964. Did not sign with the Raiders, of course, because the NFL and the AFL were in that whole battle, and you all know it. Al Davis, the whole thing with the merger, all that great stuff. So that running back did not sign with the Raiders. But our next one, as you see, Marcus Allen right there. I think we all know who Marcus Allen, Hall of Famer. Napoleon Kaufman, those who remember the second stint in Oakland. You remember Napoleon Kaufman. Darren McFadden, we all remember him. Josh Jacobs. So let's look at some, because we know we gotta look at it right here. Oh, wrong one. Right there, Marcus Allen, that famous run in the Super Bowl against the Washington Redskins at the time. Redskins.
Forever
Redskins.
The Redskins.
So I think we can clearly see that running back, we're pretty good at selecting a running back. As you see right here with Marcus Allen being the MVP of this game, Super Bowl 18 in the season of 1983. And of course you have coming up Napoleon Kaufman. Sorry, I'm trying to get my shot ready. Napoleon Kaufman, you remember Napoleon Kaufman, one of the fastest guys back there, number 26, who only played for 5 seasons between 1995 when he was drafted until 2000 when he retired because he went into the ministry. Savage Bean doing his yay. I remember this part. I remember Napoleon Kaufman. I was there for that one, those years. But of course, before 1985, when I was born, I did a lot of studying. Since I was younger, so I know a lot of these players. I wish I was there to experience watching them play live. But best thing is I know all these players because I had to go into the into the history. And of course, you saw there Josh Jacobs, who is now a Packer. So Asylum, it's safe to say that we do pretty well getting running backs. So
Yeah.
with Ashton Genty, everyone having him as their number one pick in a lot of mock drafts, and us picking running backs, what is your view on if we go running back with the number 6 pick?
Well, I hope we don't do it with the number 6 pick, but I mean, if it's going to happen there, I mean, obviously, we have had luck, choosing running backs in the first round. They've been either a Hall of Famer or very dependable running backs, right? Serviceable running backs. So, again, I think you can move down and still get Genty, but at 6, whatever, y'all know what my pick I want it to be. So that there, I mean, and you gotta remember these are all different regimes here that fucking drafted these guys. So, no matter what the regime seems to be, you've done pretty well with drafting running backs.
Yeah, so looking at this list, of course the first guy didn't play with the Raiders, but these 3 guys here right now, what would you grade our running back, our running back, how would you grade how we pick running backs?
How would I grade the team's drafting?
Success rate with running backs. That's the word.
I'll give it a B. I mean, again, you got Marcus Allen, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl MVP. I was going to ask you during all that, though, can you name all the MVPs from the Raiders Super Bowl wins?
Oh, yeah. Belinda Coffin, Super Bowl 11, Jim Plunkett, Super Bowl 15, and then, of course, Marcus Allen, Super Bowl 18. But also, in Super Bowl 15, it also could have went to Rod Martin for the 3 interceptions against the Eagles. But they went with the comeback player of the year, Jim Plunkett in 1980, the wild card team that beat the Eagles in that Super Bowl. The
first wild card team to ever win a Super Bowl.
Yes, Shiloh at number 6.
Jeff likes some Sanders boys.
Jeff, I think I already took a shot early. So, Asylum, we're over here on round 1 running back. It looks like we do very well. So
we have done very well. So
yes. So let's do. Where to go? Okay. So let's do our first shot, and let's do this to keep blessing us with talented, good running backs. Oh, you got your shot ready?
Yeah, I got it ready now.
All right. Let's do this right here. Let's take our shot and continue the success rate of our running back as we do our chant. And we do it right now in the name of, there it goes. The name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller right there.
All right. Ooh. That's how you start
right there. Continue the good luck of the running back position.
The successful drafting of running backs that the Raiders have been able to do over the years.
Yes. So if it's Genty, hopefully he can be healthy.
Or somebody else.
Healthy. Or somebody else. Yeah. So hopefully that is the case. And we have another all-pro running back to carry the load into the future. And hopefully he doesn't play games or whatever. We also have kind of controversy when it comes to our running backs too. Either they get sat down like Marcus Allen with Al Davis, or whatever was going on with Josh Jacobs and the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders should just take care of the running backs. It seems like it's the Raiders' problem. If you get a good running back, take care of him.
I'll give it to Marcus Allen though. He did do what was asked of him when Bo Jackson came in. He tried to be a team player.
Yes.
He did try.
He played fullback when Al Davis got Bo Jackson, and he was a team player until he was able to leave. But then he ended up going to the Chiefs, and then, but whatever. All right, next one up, we have the wide receiver pick. Now, with the wide receivers, here is the list of wide receivers that we have had. Mike Siani, who was a good receiver when he came out, but we all know that when Cliff Branch started emerging, I think Siani started getting phased. Jesse Hester, not much about him. Of course, you know, Tim Brown, the Hall of Famer. Darius Hayward-Bay, who Al Davis picked him over... I'm forgetting his name. Went to the Niners. Then he came to us.
Oh, Crabtree.
Amari Cooper, which after he got smacked, I think he got smacked by the Chiefs. I think it was the Chiefs. He kind of got alligator arms, so he kind of got soft after that game. And then Henry Ruggs III, and we all know what happened to Henry Ruggs III. So I saw him. I know receiver. They're saying we need a receiver. And now we have Jacoby Myers, and then we have Trey Tucker, who still needs to prove himself if he wants to be a starter.
Well, I think he needs to be used right. I don't think he's truly been used right yet. You know, being the true speedster that he is.
Yeah, and I agree. So if we go receiver, and let's look at the list. I got the receiver list here. If we go receiver, you know, McMillan, Burden, Matthew Golden, any of these guys over here, if we was to choose receiver, how do you think, or what kind of grade would you give the receiving talent that we have got in the first round with this list right here? What grade?
I would I don't know, a C plus. I mean, we seen Tim Brown, hands down. Ain't arguing nothing there. That's an A plus pick, you know, going. But everybody after, we're going to say after, it was always a thing of potential was there, talent was there. It was off-field issues, you know, kind of a thing. Cooper, whatever his shit was with Gruden and everything going, you know, dropping balls, you know, and you got to remember, Cooper dropped balls on clutch performances. When you really needed him to catch that ball, that's when it go through his hands. Other than that motherfucker was a vacuum and the game didn't matter.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs, his legal off-field issues. So, you know, Cooper, it was always a potential there. You know, he showed flashes. Ruggs was showing flashes before he made a stupid decision. Hayward-Bay, I mean, we all know why he was drafted. Al Davis wanted the speedster.
Yeah.
You know, so, but you know, he was supposed to have that. But the first two, I think, are the real reason why I'm going to give him, you know, the higher end of the C plus.
Yeah, I would say. I would say if it wasn't for Mike Siani and Tim Brown, the curve that we grade on would be even worse. But they kind of propelled it. But I say it's I would say about a. I would say it's probably been about like a D plus because Al Davis. I would say D as in dog because after Mike Siani and Tim Brown, you know, the Darius Hayward-Bays, the Amari Coopers, Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs was after. Amari Cooper and Henry Ruggs were after when Al Davis passed away. But a lot of receivers that Al Davis would draft post Cliff Branch's retirement has always been another potential Cliff Branch.
Whoever the fastest 40 time in the combine was going to be drafted by Al Davis.
Yes. Darius Hayward-Bay was one of the faster receivers, and like you said, Crabtree, you know, Darius Hayward-Bay was faster than Crabtree, so he ended up choosing Darius Hayward-Bay over Crabtree. Crabtree had a better, you know, a more productive career. He got to
Correct.
one Super Bowl with the Niners, came to the Raiders, became that possession receiver for us. But before
Oh, he
all that,
played very
we had
well
Darius.
for us.
Yes.
He played very well for us. I'm not going to knock that. Couple of, toe tap kind of things. I mean, I like Crabtree. I hate to see him go when he went.
Yeah.
But I
And,
mean, the fact that Tim Brown was, is a Hall of Famer, doesn't bring it up to at least a C minus.
well, I mean, I would say yeah, but see, at the same time, Al Davis, when it came to Tim Brown, Al Davis was never a big fan of Tim Brown. And there was an interview that Tim Brown said that Al Davis told him, I want you to be good, but I don't want you to be great. Because he knew that if Tim Brown was to become great, then Al Davis would have to pay him great receiver money. Now, Tim Brown, despite all the, moving from LA to Oakland and all the different quarterbacks and all the different head coaches and all the different offense coordinators, Tim Brown has always been consistent and productive. Tim Brown stayed with the team. Tim Brown stayed with this organization, was loyal up until 2003. When I say Norv Turner, after 2003, Norv Turner came in 2004, Norv Turner told Al Davis he had to cut him, so Al Davis said fine, which made Tim Brown go to the Buccaneers. Tim Brown got his 100th reception in Oakland. I was at that game as a Buccaneer. I stood up. I cheered. But Al Davis... Tim Brown stayed loyal to the Raiders, to the Silver and Black. So, despite, I don't want to say the unfairness that Tim Brown went through, but despite a lot of the obstacles, Tim Brown stayed. So, but overall, I'll give you C minus. I'll give you C minus on that one. I'll say C minus. I'll be nice. C minus.
I was just surprised. I mean, I'm not trying to convince you to change your grade. I'm just surprised that
the only highlight that Darius Hayward-Bay has. The only highlight that Darius Hayward-Bay has is that game after Al Davis passed away when he ended up scoring that touchdown. When he caught the ball, turned around, twisted off the tackler, and was able to scamper down the sideline to get a touchdown. That's really his only highlight, was from that game, because of that whole game being the first game after Al Davis in Houston, and then the way the game ended, it became a Raider, an NFL classic with the Raiders and the whole 10 men on the field for that interception, Michael Huff. But
there was 11 men on the field. Al Davis was on the field that play.
Al Davis, well, 10 men physically, 1 man in spiritual, Al Davis. So, but that's really his only highlight, was that game. So, and then of course, Amari Cooper, who's now on his third team now? Raiders, Cowboys, Browns.
He's on his 4th or 5th team, I think.
Well, he hasn't even been signed yet. So he's still out there. He could be going to his 5th team. And then of course Henry Ruggs, who was emerging. He had a slow start starting his career. Slow start, but he was emerging. Yeah. He was emerging.
No, he was emerging. Potential. As I said, the potential was there. But because of off-field problems, stupid mistakes, he now plays for the Mean Machines.
Yeah, the Mean Machines. Jeff says, right here, yes. And also, Tim Brown was a great punt returner. He was a great kickoff returner, even when going into later in his career. That one against the Chiefs at home, my favorite Tim Brown highlight. We'll play that later. But, I mean, it's just because Al Davis was trying to find the next Cliff Branch. And then after, Amari Cooper was good to come out of college, but then he just kind of got soft.
He took it. So when they, like I said, he took it.
Traded him. I wasn't too upset when they traded him. Yeah.
Did he take a hit in that game, and then ever since
he just
played alligator?
Yeah. Yeah, he took a hit. I don't know if he got concussion or something, but then after that, He just didn't like going down the middle, going across the middle because he had the alligator arm. So, you know, it is what it is. But then, you know, traded him to the Cowboys, had a decent stint with the Cowboys, and he went to the Browns, got traded mid-season this past season to go to the Bills, but he wasn't Bills couldn't get over the hump. He could have been in the Super Bowl. So they couldn't get over the hump, but now he's still unsigned and he's still looking for a new team. I know we got thrown around. Well, how about the Raiders resign him? No. And it's like, I don't know. But if we do assign him, they say we need a receiver. If we do go and get a receiver at number 6, let's make sure that it's a receiver. Yeah. Let's make sure that it's a receiver that is going to be tough. Is going to be able to go down the middle.
There was a comment in here that I wanted to say and go, but here at the end, we need somebody with a big body, go up for those 50-50 balls, and could take a fucking hit. I'd rather have that bigger receiver. If we're going to take a guy, I want some size on him. I don't want no little guy. I don't want no speedster. We have our speedster. We need that big body receiver who can sit there and, as it says, 50-50 ball, and come down with that, be able to hand fight and come out of that fight on the ground with the ball.
Yes.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I mean, you're like, do you remember Graham from the Saints when he was basically the number one option? He was a tight end, but they basically used him as a receiver. Then he tried to get paid receiver money, and then he went to Seattle, and then he was kind of
Taysom Hill?
Huh?
You talking about who? Oh, Graham. Yeah.
Graham. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if Chip Kelly can make an offense and have Bowers be that tight end receiver, spread go out wide and complement Jacoby Myers, who is looking to re-sign with the Raiders for a longer-term deal. He had come out and said that last week. So you get them two out there and have them, like you said, you get that big body back. He can be your possession receiver, but at the same time, be the guy that can break away and make plays. I'll take that. If it can get Jacoby Myers open, because when he gets the ball, he can make plays. We just haven't had a guy, had a coordinator to build offense, for Jacoby, like you said with Tucker. You haven't been using him right, so.
I know. I agree 100% there. I mean, let's get us a guy. I want to keep Brock Bowers at tight end. I mean, I like him, motioning out to wide receiver here and there, but I like him as a tight end. I like him in the middle of the field. I like him as a, I'd rather motion him out and keep him as a slot receiver more so, him and Jacoby getting those, playing back and forth in that slot spot, when you have that big body wide receiver, that can sit there and just do his job, make those hard catches, just like I said, just do the job. Not asking you to take the top off the field. I'm not asking you to catch the ball and be able to run 100 yards, for the touchdown. I want you to catch the ball. If you get some yards after the catch, great, perfect. You got Tucker as that speedster to take the top off, to keep him honest, and using him that way and going. And those slant routes. I think Tucker. We've seen the potential in Tucker, and I just don't think he's been used right. Unfortunately, this is even with Antonio Pierce. I don't think he was being used right. I think, in a Chip Kelly offense, he'll know how to use this speedster and be able to, get him the ball at the right time.
Yeah, and then with Tucker being that speedster, and you saw what he did last year, in a sweep or in an end around, handing the ball off and have him come outside as a runner, like Tucker. He can be a receiver and then be that guy in the backfield that can come across the field, come across the formation and make a play from there, or even come across the formation and then go out as a receiver. So hopefully with Chip Kelly, he can design plays for Tucker to succeed. And then whoever we get, if number 6 is a receiver, we don't necessarily need him to be the guy, to be like Randy Moss, or Randy Moss came out for the Vikings and be that guy. Just be a guy that's going to catch the ball, like you said, and make or just make the possession, make the catch, make the reception. And if you can break away. We have playmakers on this team where the receiver doesn't have to be that guy to, to open up the field, to stretch out the field. So, with that said, we need to make sure that if we do get a receiver, that player, that pick, has good juju. Let's erase the bad juju of Darius Hayward Bay. Darius Hayward Bay. Amari Cooper's alligator arms. And Henry Ruggs, bad decision making off the field. Let's try to eradicate the bad juju, erase the bad juju, go back to, let's get someone like a Tim Brown, like a Mike Siani. Let's go back and get a guy like that. He's going to be loyal to the team and make plays and be that dude that's going to be long term. So we got our shots ready. We got our snake. You got Stabler ready. Let's do this real quick. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. Right there. Oh, yeah. Woo! Make sure you stay hydrated and drink responsibly.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta grab you by the booze.
Okay. Now that was receiver. The next one on the list is DB. Now Asylum.
I'm gonna say DB because cornerback sounds too much like quarterback. And we need a safety.
We're gonna say DB now. DB is also on the list, and I know we just got rid of Jack Jones last week. We released him. We got Jacorian Bennett coming off of an injury, but he was emerging. He was showing his skills up until we got injured. So we still need another guy on the other side, if not for a starter, for depth, because we do have Sam Webb coming back. And
I do like Sam Webb. Sam Webb got buried on the practice squad last year. He showed himself a lot during the preseason games. What was it, under McDaniels? I think it was. In the McDaniels era, he was emerging. In my book, he was emerging and showing his capabilities, during those preseason games. And I think he got buried on the. To be honest, we got lucky he didn't get picked up from the practice squad by another team. In my book, I do like Sam Webb.
That's true, yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the next video. And Sam Webb, like, he was coming back, and then of course, he got injured, so we didn't really see a lot of him to see him emerging with the young guys that were basically starting to make a name for themselves, like Palamao and Jacorian Bennett. So he's on the list of guys that the Raiders have selected, and this is in this position, and we're going to say DB because, R. Davis, when he drafted Nnamdi Asomugha, I believe he came out as a safety, but R. Davis wanted to make him a cornerback. Same thing with Charles Woodson, came out a cornerback and wanted to make him a safety. R. Davis did. So we're going to call them DBs. So you got guys like Jack Tatum. Jack Tatum was the number 1 pick in 1971. Ted Watts, I think it was a cornerback. In 1981, Terry McDaniel, remember Terry McDaniel? Guys like Charles Woodson, who became Rookie of the Year on defense. Philip Buchanan had a great 4 games in 2002 before he broke his wrist against the Bills. And then after that, when he came back in 03, Asylum, you remember, it was the game, the Monday night game, where Brett Favre lost his dad. You were there. Yeah. I was there at the Coliseum. Buchanan, how would you say? I'm trying to be nice. he was torched.
He was more than torched. I mean, somebody poured gasoline on his ass and fucking, decided to smoke. And when they threw that fucking match after lighting that cigarette, it just happened to hit him, and he was engulfed. Is what it was. He got engulfed.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That's the word.
It wasn't good. We're gonna say it wasn't good. So
it wasn't good. No. It was ugly.
Derek Gibson, who got drafted the year before they went to the Super Bowl, he was okay as a safety. He played in 2002, played opposite Rod Woodson. But after when Rod Woodson left and retired, and Charles Woodson ended up leaving for Green Bay, Derek Gibson kind of got phased out, and he had a short stint, a short career. Nnamdi Asomugha, we picked up in 2003. I remember getting him, and then when he finally started, I believe he finally started in 2004. He shut down half the field, but then Al Davis didn't want to pay him because of the money that his. Yeah, so he ended up giving that money to Fabian Washington. So, who, because if you remember, Asomugha was shutting down that one side of the field. Fabian Washington was getting all the action, so he was getting all the plays. So he was making more plays. But then when there's not Fabian Washington in charge of the backfield, it wasn't the same. It didn't have the same result after Asomugha left. Looking at this list, Asylum, especially if you look at from Michael Huff on down, it's been spotty. It's been questionable. Looking at this list.
It's all potential. I mean, all the guys at that point were all potentials. They were all reaches. Probably could have got them, later on in the draft or whatever. Reaches. They all had that potential of something, but couldn't live up to the hype of being a first-round draft pick.
Yeah. And like Michael Huff coming out of Texas. He had a lot of potential coming out. He was decent at best, and like we said, his main highlight as a Raider was the interception at the end of that Texans game the day after Al Davis passed away, with the 10 physical guys on the field and Al Davis. The 10 guys on the field, but Michael Huff wearing the number 24, that was a big deal also. Michael Huff he wasn't the guy like we usually have at safety. He wasn't the guy. He wasn't the dude. So with Michael Huff, you had DJ Hayden. That was Reggie McKenzie's first pick, because of course a first round pick, because of course we didn't have two picks in 2011, the first and second round, because we made the greatest trade in history with Carson Palmer after Hugh Jackson and Carson Palmer. So when DJ Hayden, and of course he was injured, he had the heart condition and whatever it was, and rest in peace, DJ Hayden. Of course, he had the car accident last year. But Carl Joseph didn't pan out. Gary and Conley was often injured, didn't pan out. Jonathan Abram was tackling camera towers on Monday Night Football, busting his own shoulder, didn't work out. And of course, we all remember Damon Arnett. More so his highlights
another off-field stupid decision.
Yes, his highlights were more so on social media than it was actually on the field.
Well, and I'll go this much. Abram wanted to be a Jack Tatum. The problem with that, though, was, the year that he's playing. Tatum was playing and you were allowed to blow up a receiver. You were able to do that shit. Abrams wanted to hit just like him.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Sorry.
Wanted to be just like me, and unfortunately in today's NFL, you cannot, hit like Tatum was hitting.
Yeah.
And that's what led to trying to tackle the the camera tower or that move that and hurt himself, and it led to a lot of his own injuries. It really led to a lot of his own injuries.
It was like a crash dummy, like, how come you're out for the season? Well, I was trying to make a tackle and I ended up shoulder first until the Monday Night Tower, and here I am, shoulder wrapped up, all
and Tatum's
whatever.
original number was 31.
Yes,
just in case people didn't know, he started with 31.
Yeah, and these are the two main guys really that stand out when it comes to DBs drafted in the first round. First, you saw
Hall of Famer,
Jack Tatum,
and the should be Hall of Famer.
Yes. And I think about it a lot, and I'm all like, as much as Jack Tatum deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, they're probably never going to give it to him. I know he's passed away a couple years back, but I know they're not going to give it to him because of the whole Pittsburgh, Chuck Noll criminal element.
Well, there's that, but that was mostly Atkinson with the whole criminal element, that made the news and everything. They're not going to give it to him because that one hit against, I can't remember his name now.
Darryl Stingley. Darryl Stingley.
Stingley, that's it. When he paralyzed Stingley, which was a clean hit for that time. Gotta remember, it was a clean hit for that time. And, they felt he stood over him, all this other shit. I think that's the reason that keeps him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and it was a preseason game. And then he got paralyzed, like you said, which ended his career in a preseason game. But back then, starters played. It wasn't like we're gonna keep it easy, and then like back in the day.
Yeah, you didn't ease into it. There was no easing into it. A quarter here, so many plays there. No, they were getting in football shape to get ready to go out there. They treated preseason like it was regular season.
Yeah, and at that time, like you said, that was basically how they do it now with the joint practices and everything.
Yeah,
that's what preseason was, and I think at that time they had like 5 preseason games, 6 preseason games during that time in the 70s. Now it's down to 3, but
now they're gonna make it 2.
Yeah, well, if they go to 18 games, they'll probably go down to 2.
Well, they have to go down to 2.
But see, and that's also why a lot of these players now, they don't really get their body callus and getting used to tackle live action until like game 3, game 4. Because they got to get used to taking full contact, full, like game situation hits, game situation play, to where the games start getting good. They ain't doing it in preseason. That with Jack Tatum, somebody got hurt because at that time, like you said, Asylum, things were more legal, especially on the defensive side. You could do more. It had it right there, like Anna said, when football was football. So
Roger Goodell wasn't trying to make it an offensive game, and I'm going to put this on Goodell on this one. He wants the points. This is back when a defensive game was good. You watch a defensive game and be excited for it because 2 defenses. It was you're talking about a 3-10 game, and you were excited to watch that game. Yeah, because the defenses were just doing their job, shutting down, blowing people up. I mean. You're talking about fights. Benches would clear. And people weren't getting ejected. Benches would clear. The rest would clear the field. And it would start all over again. Then you have that animosity between the 2 teams because, somebody just said something wrong or did this. And now they're, fighting each other and just getting physical. And as Atkinson likes to say about Swan, he's soft, so we're going to do this. And this is how we're going to handle this. And don't worry about it. He did you wrong. We got him on the next play. Don't let him come across my side of the field. Come across that side of the field and got lit up like a Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was New York and that Christmas tree was coming. They got lit the fuck up.
and if you look at this list, I mean, after what would you say? After Asamoah, our DB picks started just kind of going south. Fabian Washington started off decent and then kind of tailed off when Nnamdi wasn't there. Hayden never lived up to the number 1.
You could even say Nnamdi being the exception. It starts all the way back to Buchanan.
Yeah, Yeah.
You know, with Nami being the exception, because he did take some time to become the Nami Asamoah that the Raiders remember.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, it's Nami Asamuga, as Goodell said it.
No. Was that Goodell? Was that Taglabu?
No, that was 2003. That was Goodell.
That was Goodell?
I believe that was Goodell. Maybe it was Tagliabue. Might have been Tagliabue. I don't know. I don't remember when Goodell took over. Anyways.
Well, Philip Buchanan, remember also, he was also a good returner. So he was a good kickoff punt returner. And his first 4 games, in 2002, when the Raiders started off 4-0, Buchanan started opposite Charles Woodson as the other corner. And maybe it's another Fabian Washington thing, where because you had a shutdown corner in Charles Woodson, like Fabian had in Asamoah, he was able to make them plays, because they ain't going to go and challenge Charles Woodson. They're going to challenge Buchanan. So Buchanan was able to make those plays because he only had to really worry about his sideline. But once he broke his wrist, trying to go for a pass, tried to defend a pass on the sideline in Buffalo, he broke his wrist, out IR for the rest of the season. When it came back in 03, it was like what happened to quote-unquote Showtime. Because that was his nickname, Showtime. Remember Showtime? Yeah. Because he had some, returns, big returns on defense. I mean, on defense, but on kickoff return. Isn't he supposed to be related to Deion Sanders somehow too? It's like his nephew or something, like distant nephew or whatever it was.
It try to say like Sanders is related to everybody. He's part Puerto Rican.
Deontay Sanders. So, if you look at this list, and you're going to grade our number 1 selections, our first round selections on DBs, because we know we need a safety, and if we get a guy, let's look at cornerbacks. If we get a guy, let's say they go after Will Johnson, the Raiders say we're going to get Will Johnson or Benjamin Morris, or if we even look at safeties like Malaki Starts or Nick Iman Worry. I don't know if that's me trying to pronounce it or the Juju kicking in, but if you look at those and those guys come in, well, actually first, what would you grade our success rate when it comes to DBs in the first round?
Okay, this one's tough because we had good early and then just kind of went to shit. I'm going to give this one a solid C.
Solid C.
50-50, right? You could almost go 50-50 out of all these picks, good and then just reaches and terrible. I'm going to say solid C in this one because we have, Hall of Famer, in Charles Woodson, Tatum, who we both believe should be, excuse me, in the Hall of Fame, but probably never get it. And Asamoah, while he was with the Raiders, Terry McDaniels, Buchanan up until he broke his fucking wrist. Fabian, as long as he was paired with Nnamdi Asamoah. So I'll give that a solid C, but definitely after have been just, even going to our favorite person, Marcus Peters, garbage. You're just garbage. Oh, yeah.
I want to agree with you. It's a 50-50. You had Jack Tatum. Ted Watts was a starter. He was out there during the 1980 or when the 1983. That Super Bowl run. So he was out there. Terry McDaniel. He had a decent career with the Raiders, but he had to get a Holy Toledo. But yeah, I'm gonna say shout out to Bill King. I'm gonna say 50-50, yeah. Because after Asamoah, you said okay. If you give Philip Buchanan an exception because he started off good, like he started off like he was the one, and then when it came back, he didn't have that same flair. He didn't have that same he didn't make the same plays, especially with that 4-12 season in 2003. Bill Callahan, the dumbest team in America, got him fired. After Asamoah, it's just been kind of a letdown. Fabian Washington started off decent along with Asamoah, like you said, but after Asamoah left, he got exposed. Michael Huff was serviceable, but for a number one pick, he wasn't a ball hawk like that. He wasn't a hitter like that. DJ Hayden just never. He was also often injured. Carl Joseph never lived up to that number 14 overall pick. Gary and Conley never panned out. Abram, though he would make plays here and there, he was never consistent. And of course, busting the shoulder against the camera tower on the sideline. And then Damon Arnett never really did much on the field. And after he left the Raiders cut him, he went to the Chiefs. But then after the Chiefs, I don't even think he played a game with the Chiefs. They cut him like months after. Yeah,
I thought it was like a week later.
It was like right after they signed him. Oh yeah, never mind. We were trying to stick it to the Raiders, and then we realized why. Yeah, never mind.
I believe that was the week before we played them that they signed them. They were just trying to get secrets.
There's an old story. There's an old story that I watched. You remember the movie, the Sylvester Stallone movie, Stop, My Mama Will Shoot?
Stop for your mama. Yeah.
With Estelle Getty from Golden Girls. Well, Sylvester Stallone said that apparently that movie was first pitched to Schwarzenegger. At that time, Stallone and Schwarzenegger were basically rivals when it came to action films. Rocky with Stallone, and of course Terminator with Schwarzenegger. So apparently the story is that it was first pitched to Schwarzenegger, but he didn't want it. But when they pitched it to Sylvester Stallone, they told him, "Oh yeah, we were gonna give it to Schwarzenegger, but he, okay, I'll take it, I'll do it," and it completely flopped. So I feel like the script for a Stop My Mama Shoot, that was Damon Arnett, okay? Sylvester Stallone with the Chiefs, and we were Schwarzenegger, and we don't want to know, nah. Oh, sign him. You know what? Never mind. This is the worst. Never mind. Never played a game for the Chiefs. But, all right. So, with that said, Asylum.
Jason gives him a solid C+. He likes it better than I do. What's your grade, though?
Well, no, I said 50-50. I'll say a C. Just under
solid
a C plus C. Yeah, because it was solid like our first 6 picks. No, there's I think it's a total of 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 16 total picks at DB in the first round. The first 6 picks, for the most part, it's like a B plus. At the most, A minus. But then when you go to the last 8 picks, it's been F. So I guess if you kind of balance it out, it's like a C. It's a C. So maybe we're due. Maybe we're due for a good DB if we get a DB in the 6th round. I mean, in pick number 6. If we get a DB,
time to break the curse of the last pick since Asamoah.
Yes. So let's do that right here. Let's try to erase the bad juju of the DBs that we went and drafted earlier than they should have been, the guys that we got. So let's go and do this. Let's go and do a cleanse the DB position. Right here. It's right here. Here we go. In the name of the Father.
Bring back the history.
Name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. Here we go.
Woo!
Oh, yeah. Stabler is eradicating some bad juju.
Okay, Stabler's back. Shit, no guy.
All right. Okay. Asylum.
Hold on, Stabler lost his head. I gotta get him back together. Okay. Stabler's fixed.
Well, let's go into... Okay, the next one. Offensive line. Now, me and you, in the last couple episodes, after Demon King, introduced us the music in the background sounds. It is Jobu music, okay, not porno. It's Jobu music. But
Hey,
if
be
you think
careful
about
what
it,
you're looking on the internet, though. You might be able to find
maybe
porno.
it's maybe it could be tribal women in the National Geographic music. I don't know. That was that was educational porn, okay? No, I'm thinking about the tribes. Yeah, they're topless. Yeah, but no, it's the tribes. It's the tribes.
But that's how they are in the tribes. Not my fault.
Offensive lineman. Now me and you are saying, you know what? Well, I'm saying let's go offensive line. Let's go offensive line.
Yes.
But before we show the
The
prospects,
sexy pick in the draft. The sexiest pick you can get. Let's go offensive line.
Offensive line. Looking at this list right here, Asylum. This is all the picks of the offensive line in the first round. So we got our tackles and we got our interior linemen. One of the notable ones, Henry Lawrence, who was a starter on the right on the right side after he came in after John Vella, right? I believe he came in after John Vella.
I believe
because it was Henry Lawrence, John Vella, Bob Brown came from the Eagles. He was an offensive tackle because the left side was Archell. Where Archell was in the second round of his draft. But then of course you had guys like on the guard side. When I was a kid, hey, see, that's what I'm saying. You gotta find ways around the system back then, okay? That's why back when you're younger.
Hold on. The Sears catalog, that always worked too.
The one that came in the Sunday paper. No, I'm looking at the deals. Really? You're looking at the deals, huh? You ain't got no money. Yeah, but I'm trying to help you out. Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out, Mom. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna let's be honest, okay, Asylum. I think porn back then, trying to obtain porn was much more exciting because you had to go through a whole covert mission. It was like Mission Impossible, okay? And then of course when the Matrix movies came out, and you saw how they would read all the numbers going up and down the screen, that was us watching Scramble Vision. I don't know what you see. I can see top C's and bottom Z's.
Right? Cinemax After Dark, HBO After Dark.
Hey, yeah, they called it Skinemax.
Cinemax.
And Showtime. No, okay, for us. Okay. We're letting the Juju take over, okay? Real man, step up. Real man, step up. Tell us. This is what we used to do when we were younger, okay? Then nowadays, it's easy, okay? I mean, you got the phone in one hand, and then, of course, the other hand, it's not the same, okay?
It's not something else in the other hand.
Yeah, there was a whole mission, okay? There was a whole thing you had to do when you're younger. And you know what? I bet you this is why our generation, Asylum, especially us, we were the bridge between two technology generations from the internet, before pre-internet and then post-internet. We learned how to problem solve. We learned how to get around systems because we had to. If you wanted to see Adam and Eve and Playboy and all those other ones with the scramble vision and the illegal black box, and hope my mom's not watching and she knows all my secrets now, what I used to do as a child. Sorry, Mom. It is what it is. Anyways, Asylum. We're getting off topic right now, okay? The Juju is kicking in. You see on this list, we've done decent when it comes to offensive line. Henry Lawrence, a tackle, at guard, Gene Upshaw. We all know Gene Upshaw, number 63, Highway 63. Even guys like Mo Collins, who came in at guard. He was a starting guard in Super Bowl 37, with that offensive line with Barrett Robbins, Mo Collins, the free agent acquisition in Lincoln Kennedy.
I believe was fucking decent.
Who?
Stitchcomb.
Stinchcomb was decent at tackle. He was tackle and guard. He could do both. I like Stinchcomb too. Robert Gallery was a high draft pick because he was the top offensive tackle coming out the draft. But He didn't pan out. He was too small. I did like him at guard. They should have kept him at guard. When he became guard, he took over Wisniewski's 76 number and played left guard. And then he ended up going to Seattle. And then, you know, he had a short career, like maybe it was 8 years career, yes, you know, whatever. But, and then Colton Miller started off slow. I know you always talk about Colton Miller starting off slow.
I mean, everyone hated Colton Miller for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, that was a Gruden pick, and there was a Colton Miller. Oh, my God, he's a bust. You know, they hated him. And then he was finally able to come into his own, learn what he needed to learn. And up until last year with that injury, had been a, you know, top 3 lineman.
Yeah.
You know, in the NFL. I mean,
yeah.
You know, he you know, so again, as long as that injury isn't there, I expect him to come back. And again, if you watched the last episode, we did have up there where we chose from what we currently have on the team, our starting offensive line, which mine was definitely an unpopular opinion because of a few things, but mine was based off of Colton Miller being healthy and you know, that injury not bothering him. So we'll see. Colton Miller, I still think, even though that injury is affecting him and he's on a downcline, Colton Miller was still a good top pick.
Yeah, and if we want to go back to that what we were talking about last week, you know, I had my predictions and my projection, and this was with the guys that we have currently on the roster. You know, yes. I had Thayer Mumford taking over Colton Miller because Thayer Mumford is younger, and when Thayer Mumford had to take over Colton Miller on that left side 2 years ago, he did a pretty good job covering for Colton Miller. But you explain yours again one more time. You, with the surprising switch of Dylan Parham in center and Jackson Powers Johnson at left guard. Let's go through that again, because this can also help with whoever we bring in and where they can go. So explain again your philosophy when it comes to the offensive line.
I have put Dylan Parham at center because a lot of people, you and me included, for even last year, since he goes, we both liked Parham at center. We think he could play center and plays well at center. And I put Powers on that left side because, for one, we need to protect our right-handed quarterback's blind side.
Yes.
And with a healthy, again, this is assuming Colton Miller is not last year's Colton Miller, but the year before Colton Miller, the dominant Colton Miller, with the Jackson Powers being there. And I also said it's a reminiscence of, in which he's on there, of the Gene Upshaw and Art Shell on that left side back in the day when we were dominant, and allows us to be able to run to the left because you know Powers is going to get up forward. You know Miller's going to be there. There's going to be a hole between Parham, Powers, and Miller. So you have holes, you know, and it forces the other team on defense to focus on that left side, which all of a sudden opens up the right side for screen passing, all kinds of different other things. I think Powers Johnson's his meanness, his aggressiveness better suits that guard position.
Yeah. And as he started talking about it, sorry, I'm saying he started talking about it, I started seeing like, okay, it's kind of like you have Jackson Powers Johnson, who's not afraid to go to the next level and hit linebackers. Then let's put him at guard and have him be that lead guy that's looking for contact, that's looking for somebody that can take out. Colton Miller being that staple on that left side, bringing him back on that left side if he's healthy. And of course, we saw the news earlier today, which came after we had everything put together for the show, that Colton Miller is all like, hey, I want an extension. So Colton Miller is very confident in his abilities to be the guy that he was on the left side before his injury, having DJ Glaze stay on the right side, Jordan Meredith, who was a good, he was a serviceable guard, and maybe now with the extra year of experience, he can take his game to the next level. And you said, me and you, before we drafted JBJ, Dylan Parham was a better center than Andre James, who is no longer on the team. So we don't have to worry about bringing him in when he signed that 3-year contract, Andre James, and got released the year after that contract was signed. But I started to see, yes, Jackson Powers Johnson having him be that pull guard. And you're talking about, because I have that highlight right here of Gene Upshaw, the guy that we know, that big dude, Highway 63, who you didn't want to see coming at you, coming around the corner of that offensive line, coming around when he pulled and coming around the corner to be that lead block, you know.
Exactly. And that's how I see Powers in that position. I mean, minus the damn, forearm casts and everything. Powers could do it without that, but that's how I see Powers right there in that position.
Yeah.
Assuming
Powers Johnson coming around the corner and just engulfing people, a little DB that thought he can go and make that play, and then you see.
Oh no, somebody thinks I'm gonna be able to bounce off of him and be able to still make the tackle. He's gonna lay them flat on their ass and then give you that extra fucking 6 yards.
Yeah.
Because now the safety's coming up having to make the tackle because that linebacker is laying on his ass saying, did you get the address of that train?
Yeah.
Did you get the number of that train that hit me? I mean, we had refs telling the coach when it came to Powers, he needs to calm down. You don't need to be so aggressive. And as a center, it stands out more. But you put him in that guard position, right? When he's in that pile, when he's in that thing where he, like you said, swinging out to come make the block, and he just levels a motherfucker, knocks his mouthpiece out and thinks he's goddamn Mike Tyson. And just, then you got somebody come up, you got knocked the fuck out. Being the smoky and shit. I just think he has the potential. That offensive line, assuming no drafting and everything, that offensive line has the potential of being so dominant that it would come back to those Gene Upshaw, those Art Shell, Moser, those years, right? When that offensive line was so dominant that Stabler, Plunkett, and all of them had time to do whatever the fuck they wanted in the back there. They'll guide shit, and those receivers had nothing but time to get away from those DBs and be able to go and make those plays. And if you're running the ball, I mean, we were notorious for being able to run the ball and go because we had an offensive line that could do it all. Yeah. They were small enough and fast enough. They could pull, they could do this, they could do that. But yet at the same time, if you needed power blocking, it was there. Holes were there for those running backs. And they get 5-6 yards. And with a Chip Kelly, I think he could make that offensive line just look amazing.
Yeah, and then if you think about it, when we had a dominant offensive line, we had playoff teams. If you go all the way back to the 70s, or even the late 60s going into the early 70s with Jim Otto at center, and then you had Gene Upshaw at the left guard, and then eventually you had Art Shell at the left tackle. You had John Vella at right tackle, and then you had Bob Brown playing, and you had Henry Lawrence playing, and then if you then winning with Dave Dubby when he came in and took over for center, he got all 3 rings when it came to the Super Bowls. And then if you go into the early 2000s, you had Lincoln Kennedy at right guard. You had Mo Collins at right guard. Lincoln Kennedy at right tackle. Mo Collins at right guard. You had Barrett Robbins at center. You had Frank Middleton at left guard. And you had it was what am I forgetting his name? I know who it was too. At left tackle, it was Barry Sims. You had Barry Sims at left tackle. When you had that depth dominant offensive line, the team can plow over players. Even remember car insurance when you had
exactly. And then you didn't have to have the next coming of a running back. You had running. Our offensive lines were making I don't want to say average, because we had running backs that most people would ignore, but because of that offensive line, they were productive. They got the jobs done. You got the Van Eekens, you got the back with
Clarence
Davis,
Clarence Davis, and
Clarence Davis.
Yeah.
You had all these guys who they weren't the top running backs, in their draft class. They weren't top running backs in the NFL, but at the same time, they were getting the job done. They were able to turn around and get, you needed a run, it's fucking 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
They knew we were going to run the ball. They tried to stack the box.
I mean, like Zach Crockett in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You knew when 32 went in there, Zach Crockett 32 went in there, they're gonna go up the middle, and no matter how many guys you had up there stacked, Zach Crockett still got that 3rd and 1, that 3rd and goal with 1 yard to go. Zach Crockett got 2 yards because the offensive line was able to plow.
Exactly, and that's we've said it on and off. Rick, mirrors us and everything.
Yeah.
You win games in the trenches.
Yes.
And it starts with a good offensive line.
Yes. And if you look at guys like we have the prospects, let's go with tackle, and we all like Armand Membu because, when Demon King told us about him, we were like, you know what? I think I want to pick him. I want him. If we're picking at 6, that's my pick. Yeah. If he
That's
comes
my
in
pick at 6. And yes, that's because of Demon King and then the highlights that you had, that you showed and everything. And with going, if we have to pick at 6, that's who I want right there.
Yes.
Then you give that guy a year to sit there and learn the NFL and come in the right way. With the pieces we have on the team, you could, as it goes, Jason Down says here, Colton Miller might, be signaling a trade. I think it's so. He's saying he's healthy, and you give him another 3-year extension, kind of go. But if he does go, you can shift on that offensive line and put Ahmad in there after that, into next year, and not lose that step, not lose the positivity you've made on that offensive line. Yeah.
And I know everyone's looking at a position player, like a quarterback,
wide receiver, running back, quarterback.
Yeah, and me and you, and you were talking about the highlights. If you look at this guy right here,
I mean, and watch, as Demon King says, he always has himself between the defensive player and the ball carrier, or whoever has the ball, whether it's passing on. He always has himself in between there. Nobody's getting around him. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
He's athletic enough to, I think, handle some of these athletic athletic defensive ends on where he's going to be. He's there. He's got great footwork. He's got good handwork. He doesn't get beat too often. Every offensive lineman is going to get beat. It happens. But it doesn't happen a lot with him. And, the coachability, I think, could be there. He's already got the fundamentals there. And that's where a lot of these football players are missing, in a lot of this. The fundamentals are gone. They're going off of pure talent. And sometimes that's just not enough.
Yeah, like Alex Leatherwood right here, who came out of nowhere when we drafted him in 2021 and never panned out, got traded to the Bears, never saw it down with the Bears, and now he's out of football. That was a John Gruden pick. You know, at that time, John Gruden's last year with the Raiders. You know, but looking at this list, Asylum. Looking at this list, what would you give the grade when it comes to offensive line overall? We got tackles and we got interior linemen. Don Mosbar at center when he took over after Dave Dubby, and of course I think Mosbar, he's the one that had the eye issue, right? That's what Kingdon had told us when he got poked in the eye. Yeah, and he also had the back surgery that wasn't disclosed, but when he took over, up until he got poked in the eye, he was that guy. Yeah. And Alex Leatherwood, yeah. I was like, hey, Leatherwood, he can be like protection, you know, like a leather condom. He is the leather over your wood. Didn't work out. I was hoping. I was trying to spin it because none of us knew.
You were trying to spin it some way.
I was like, let's be positive, guys. And he never worked out. And then I think he went, I don't know. Like the NFL wasn't for him. He didn't realize that this is a league of men, and he didn't realize that. And I think he was one of the top offensive linemen. He was an award winner, but
he was one of the top, but he wasn't the top.
Yeah. And all of us were like, Alex Leatherwood. I remember that. Me and Homer were
stretch.
Me and Raider Homer were part of the broadcast for Raider Fan Radio when they went live, and all of them were all like, "What? What?" But then, but who had it worse though? Okay, this is a dig at the Niners. Who had it worse? The Raiders picking Alex Leatherwood, or the Niners trading away all them picks to get the quarterback, Lance.
Yeah, no, that because of that, the fact of giving away all those picks, got to make him bigger bust than Jamarcus Russell.
I don't know, because the Niners got lucky when they went and got Mr. Irrelevant Purdy. And
yeah, that may be luck, but they still, what was it, 2 years before, all those picks they got for Trey Lance?
Yeah, I know.
That they gave up to get that pick, and then to pick him?
They did a Mike Ditka type of trade for Williams.
To me, that's got to put him up there. It's got to put him up there with the Ryan Leafs, the Jamarcus Russells, as some of the biggest busts in the draft.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. But looking at it was horrible. It was horrible. 2007, it was horrible. And then, but hey, Lance is with the he got traded
Cowboys.
again, and no, he left the Cowboys. He got traded to I forgot who he got traded to. He got traded to somebody as a backup though.
Oh, Carolina, right?
No, I forgot who it was.
No. It's not Carolina. That was.
But looking at this list, Asylum, it's got to be the Vikings, Cowboys with Herschel Walker.
Yeah,
and that started the Cowboys dynasty.
Yeah, but the Vikings gave up every draft pick they had to get Herschel Walker.
I'm gonna give that to Jeff right there. Okay, Asylum, looking at this list right here, what would be your grade in the Raiders' success rate when it comes to picking offensive linemen in the first round?
I'll have to agree with Jason Downs here and go with the B-.
B-?
I have to go with the B-. They have a habit of drafting serviceable players, or even to the point, yet again, another Hall of Famer. Right?
Yeah.
In Upshaw.
Yeah.
If they're not Hall of Famers or even considered up there as being one of the greats, they are definitely serviceable players who turn around and been in and out, going. I'm going to agree with the B-.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I would say B-. Like you said, you got guys like Henry Lawrence, who was a staple on the offensive line when they, for some of the Super Bowl runs. Jane Upshaw, Super Bowl Super Bowl 11, Super Bowl 15. He was also the leader of that team. He was that guy that eventually took over for the Players Association. But Gene Upshaw was always that leader. Don Mosbar, who was able to take over for Dave Dalby at center, and then succeeding after him was Barrett Robbins. So the Raiders were always known for their tough-nosed centers on the offensive line, and Don Mosbar was a part of that group of guys.
Starting with Mr. Raider.
With Mr. Raider, Jim Otto, who never missed a game as a Raider. Surgery or not, I'm going out there. Bionic Man himself, Jim Otto.
His record I'm going after right now.
Yeah.
Long way to go still.
Hey, we're at episode 91 when it comes to Wednesday, so you're halfway there. You're getting there.
I'm getting there.
I mean, the only bad picks we had, if you really think about it, is, Alex Leatherwood, of course, is the most recent one. Matt Stinchcomb, he was a guy that was serviceable. He held it down when he had to play tackle. Mo Collins was a very good guard at the right side, right next to Lincoln Kennedy at right tackle. So Robert Gallery was supposed to be a tackle, but you've seen that guard was more so for in the NFL level was his position. But the Raiders discovered that late into his Raider career before he went to Seattle. So I would say B-. We'll say B minus for me. The highest is a solid B. So that's all I'm gonna say. So if we get an Ormond Mimbu or anybody else at that offensive line position to protect Geno Smith, we want to keep up the good juju. Yes, exactly, and keep the blessings as it comes for the offensive line. The Geno Smith insurance. I don't know. It's not the same thing like car insurance. It's not the same thing. It doesn't have the same ring. But
no, it doesn't. We'll come up with a good name for it, though. We'll come up with a good name.
Yes. So, with that, we got our shots ready. All right, Al Jobu. We want to make sure that if we do get an offensive line, that we bless the offensive line, and whoever we get will be a dominant force on that offensive line, like we did last year with JPJ at number 2 and DJ Glaze at number 3. So, let's all put together and for the offensive line pick, the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller.
It's running again, damn. Stabler?
Yeah. I'm trying to give guys time in between shots so we can survive the night, okay?
Survive the night.
Survive the night.
This show ain't about survival.
It's not about survival in the cage match. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm getting my voice back. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah. There you go. It's starting to happen with the damn alcohol, isn't it?
Cup of tea, baby.
Hey, look, I didn't do a bad Macho Man there.
All right, Asylum. The last one that NFL.com says we need is linebacker. Linebacker, Asylum. So, if we look at the guys that we had drafted at number 1, the first pick, Rob Fredrickson, Napoleon Harris, Rolando McClain, who also had off-field issues, and we sent him to Dallas. And then, of course, Khalil Mack, who I'm catching up on Easter Day. My sister gave up
Lent.
She gave up alcohol for Lent, so she will do hers on the resurrection.
I want video catching up, Alicia.
So, and then of course, Khalil Mack, who now plays in our division with the Chargers. Now Khalil Mack, he did have some highlights. Now, Khalil Mack came out. He was drafted as a linebacker, but he played a lot with his hand on the ground. So, and there was the one year that he was all pro in defensive end and linebacker at the same time. First player to be all pro in 2 positions in the same year. So, you know, and I know me and you, Asylum, we kind of agree when it comes to Khalil Mack that he obviously didn't want to be with the Raiders because it was either with money or he didn't want to play with Gruden.
It was Gruden.
So we had to trade him.
He had come out and said he did not want to play for Gruden.
Yes.
But you got to remember, yes, he was holding out that year for more money, but that's when we hired Gruden, and it went from money to I don't want to play for this coach.
Yeah. And I guess maybe he was upset because I believe the story was the Niners had gave him or offered a decent decent pay for him if the Raiders were to trade him to the Niners. But that wasn't the case. John Gruden and I think at that time, John Gruden came in, so it was still McKenzie. So John Gruden and McKenzie, they did, whether it was John Gruden or McKenzie, whatever, they decided, no, we're not going to make that offer. We'll send him to Chicago.
Well, I'm sure Chicago offered a lot more for him than the damn 49ers did.
Yeah. And KDO in the chats, he's the one that produced our intro music, our cage match music in the intro video that starts off the show. He's told me that story, that he talked to one of his Pilates coach and kind of gave him the dirt on what Khalil Mack was asking for and all that, talking about I want to feed my family. But it was like, you're making a lot of money. And he was telling me this. He told me the story during that whole time when Khalil Mack was trying to, whatever he was doing, if he wanted to be a Raider, or if you wanted to be a Raider, or if you didn't want to be a Raider. So Arcadia told me all this, and it was just unclear, but you can clearly see that Jason Downs. It was, he didn't want to play under Gruden. So with that, Khalil Mack ended up getting traded to the Bears, which we got some picks for him. Which got us Josh Jacobs and who was it? Abram? Was it Abram? So let me get that up there. No, not that one. Wrong one.
What are you doing?
My bad. So with Khalil Mack, he did good. He did good for the Raiders, went to the Bears. And I think after he left the Raiders, the Bears, he was kind of up and down. Now he's with the Chargers. And we saw what he did 2 years ago on Aiden O'Connell's first start. But, of course, we know
McDaniels. That's because
McDaniels.
the coach didn't do what needed to be done to be able to,
See, I'm messing up. My bad. Okay, yeah. My bad. So, looking at this list right here, Napoleon Harris, he got drafted in 2002, which made the Raiders trade Greg Beaker, the middle linebacker, going into 2002 to the Vikings. They drafted Napoleon Harris. Napoleon Harris, he was a good middle linebacker in that 2002 season when they went to the Super Bowl, but it didn't. I don't know how you would say it. I don't know how you say it. It didn't go well. He didn't elevate the position.
He was a flash in the pan.
Basically, and then he ended up getting sent to the Vikings also at the end of his Raider tenure, I believe. Rolando McClain, his only highlight was in the preseason when he body slammed. I forgot who it was. It was against the Rams, the running back. He body slammed the running back, which got him a flag because you can't pick up a player and then slam him on the ground. But Rolando McClain had his offseason issues. Him having the gun, the registered gun with him and everything. When every time he goes back to Alabama, which sent him to the Cowboys. Which I guess he had a decent career with the Cowboys.
Well,
And
he
then you
did
had
halfway
Khalil Mack.
decent. Then he retired. Then came back, tried to come back with the Ravens.
Yeah. So, looking at this list, if we was to get a linebacker in the draft, which is I don't see it happening, but the Raiders do go linebacker. You know, Jahad Campbell, Carson Schwessinger, Barrett Carter, any of these guys. You know, if the Raiders do, well, actually, first, the Juju's kicking in. First, how would you rate this list when it comes to Raiders and linebackers in the first round? How would you rate this
Just
list?
because of Khalil Mack, I'll give it an F.
No curve, huh?
No, I mean, and it's only that high because of Khalil Mack.
So you're saying if Khalil Mack wasn't drafted by the Raiders, it would be what, an F plus?
It'd be a Z.
That's incomplete. I mean, yeah. And I guess you can say the Raiders, for the most part, they didn't really need to go linebacker in the first round because they had a lot of linebacker, or a lot of free agent linebackers that came in that were able to hold it down for the Raiders. You know, you had in the 70s, you had like Ted Hendricks. You know, you had guys like Filippiano, Monty Johnson. You know, when he got his time, Monty Johnson in that 76 year, he got that ring, and then bless you. And then you got the in the 80s, you had Ron Martin. So you had guys, Greg Beaker going into the 90s. You had it was only for like a year and a half, but you had like the Romanowskis, and then we got our linebackers later, like in the later rounds. And I'm forgetting his name. San Diego State, played for the Raiders. Now he does. He tells that famous story about Jamarcus Russell. I'm forgetting his name right now. The linebacker, 52. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to think.
But Raiders were able to find their linebackers in the middle rounds, so they didn't really have to go first round with their linebacker. They did in 2002 for Napoleon Harris. A lot of us wasn't expecting Rolando McClain to come out in 2010. Khalil Mack was a hybrid DN linebacker. Kurt Morrison, yes.
He was the last good linebacker we drafted.
Yeah. And then Khalil Mack was, like you said, he was used more down, hands in the dirt. But a lot of times when he was able to, to cover the running back, so he was able to get the All-Pro on both positions. But it's kind of a quick one. You said F. You said F. I would say it's F minus. That'd be nice. F minus. F minus. F minus. If that's even a thing. F minus. So hey, if we do get a linebacker,
oh, we got to completely wipe out the bad juju.
we gotta for sure, out of the 4 picks, and that's a small sample size when it comes to first round linebackers, but sample size wasn't a good sample. So if we do get a linebacker in the first round, we gotta completely Jujufy that whole thing, eradicate the juju, and cleanse it with some hard alcohol to make sure that doesn't happen again with the bad picks that we had. So like we always say, when we're gonna do this, we're gonna go in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Roller with that right here. For you out there,
Woo!
we appreciate you for participating. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And we're not even done yet, brother.
We're not even done yet, bro. That was 5 right there, and now it's slide them.
I didn't do it. I've been here the whole time. That's my probation officer.
Even got my compa chain. to try to help with the Juju.
We're not going to even talk about that.
Hey, Jason down. I mean, Jason again. Sorry, Anna said, "Hey, triple salute." She's doing a super cleanse, okay? Super cleanse right there. Okay. All right, Asylum now. We got Geno Smith. Geno Smith, we traded him for him, whatever. And he's a little older. He's about 35, 36, 35, whatever.
34, I thought.
34. So, but still. Oh, let's take this off. Sorry. Quarterback is an issue. Quarterback. To a lot of folks, if Shedeur Sanders is still there. If Shedeur Sanders is still there, and I'm telling you, I keep saying, I feel like we're reliving 2024 all over again, the offseason with Michael Penix. If Shedeur Sanders, sorry, hey, killing you softly with this song, killing you softly with this song. No, anyways, now Asylum.
I'm here.
Just look at the list that we had. First round quarterbacks.
I'm afraid to look at this list.
Dale Hackbart in 1960, the inauguration of the Raiders, or AKA the Seniors. This is considered a territorial. And not interested in Sanders, but you never know, Anna. You know, Anna. Anna knows, okay? Crazier things have happened on draft night when it comes to the Raiders and their first pick. So we just got to make sure. This is all about preparing for the draft and making sure that all positions are cleansed of the bad juju, the bad luck, and everything like that. The Raiders' first ever pick was a quarterback, Dale Hackbart. Now, at the time, the NFL and the AFL were competing for players. NFL was already established. AFL was the newborn league. Dale Hackbart decided to sign with the Green Bay Packers. Now in 62, the Raiders with their number 2 pick, Roman Gabriel, decided to go sign with the Rams instead. So our first 2 picks for quarterback in the first round never put on a Raiders jersey. Which now leads us to Mark Wilson in 1980. Mark Wilson was drafted in 1980. Jim Plunkett came into the Raiders, I believe, in 1978. 78, 79. Stabler was retiring. Pastorini came in on a trade. We sent Stabler and Jack Tatum to the Houston Oilers for Pastorini. We drafted Mark Wilson in 1980. Pastorini broke his leg. Plunkett came in, never looked back. Mark Wilson was a good spot quarterback, spot starter. Kind of like what they're saying about O'Connell right now. Mark Wilson was a spot starter, but never really took over the position. When Plunkett got hurt, Mark Wilson came in, was a good spot starter. After that, Todd Marinovich, the story was his father drove him like a robot. Hey, we got to. I'm gonna give you a check on that one. But we have to make sure that we cleanse this. We cleanse this. I'm trying to be nice here.
Hey,
I know we're in fans.
He's free to cleanse this.
We gotta cleanse
Just
this.
don't draft the fucking quarterback.
Let's talk kickers and punters in the first round. Ray Guy and Janikowski were 100%. But Todd Marinovich coming out in 1991 never panned out. If the pressure was too much for him, didn't work out. Jamarcus Russell, need I say more, took the title away from number 1 overall bust. Took it from, like you said, Asylum.
Ryan Leaf.
From Ryan Leaf. If you look at the stats here, Mark Wilson had a longer career, 126 games played, 32 and 28 as a starter. but he can never succeed after Jim Plunkett. Todd Marinovich couldn't do it. Jamarcus Russell, do we need to say anything after that? Asylum, I know quarterback in the first round.
Just don't do it.
This is something that you talk about. Jack Kenna knows. Jamarcus Russell was the worst ever. I mean, the guy was embezzling high school funds when he was in. I mean, come on, man. Asylum, I'm gonna let you take over when it comes to this subject, okay? First round quarterbacks. Asylum, you have the floor. I'm giving this to you because I know this resonates in your soul. This burns in your soul. So I'm gonna let you take over.
I mean, it's simple. The best way to get rid of this Juju is just don't draft the quarterback in the first round. I give this one a flat, incomplete. I mean, it's not even. If I give it anything less than a Z, I would. I mean, plain and simple. I don't want Shador. You know, I mean, yeah, it's just, this is like, no. We have the worst luck. I won't even call it luck. Our scouting, I don't know what the fuck goes wrong when it comes to drafting quarterback. I mean, I know Al Davis ain't here, but still, his spirit's part of this team. And I mean, we're going to try. We're going to try to get rid of the bad juju for quarterbacks. But in the end, I don't think there's enough alcohol in the goddamn world to fucking satisfy Jobu himself to fucking be able to cleanse this stain on the Raiders when it comes to drafting a quarterback in the first fucking round. It's just like non-existent. I mean, I'm willing to sacrifice and do it for science and try.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Juju is kicking it at the right time right now, okay? Because like you said, the only quarterback for us that had, and we're going off of success, okay? The only quarterback that we drafted is Ken Stabler. But Ken Stabler was in round 2. Now, I know it's not on here, but Eldridge Dickey was drafted as a quarterback. It was a quarterback in college, but they try to use him as a receiver. So he's kind of like, yeah, he was a quarterback in college, but the Raiders try to use him as a receiver. No, so he's not on the list.
No. At first, they gave him the shot at quarterback, but he couldn't even make it out of training camp as a quarterback.
Yeah. It's almost like Terrell Pryor, you know?
Hey, at least Terrell Pryor got some starts at quarterback.
Hey, you know what? And I believed in Terrell Pryor.
And made it as a successful wide receiver.
Yeah.
Dickey, I don't think, made it more than 3 years on the team before he was cut.
Hey, you know what? I feel like if Terrell Pryor had a better offensive coach, because he played under Dennis Allen, who was a defensive coach. If he had a better offensive coach, I feel like he could have been able to do something. You know, we all remember that long run, and I don't like to bring it up to you, Asylum. I don't like to bring it up to you because I know you were inside the Coliseum, but against your will, you missed that play when Terrell Pryor had the longest run in Raiders history. I believe it was like, 98 yards against the Steelers?
No, it was 97 or 93.
Okay, it was in the 90s, though. He broke Bo Jackson's longest run with the Raiders. And took it to the house. He basically opened up the game.
I had just made it in the stadium, making it through that bum rush shit, and all of a sudden you hear the stadium go. Man, I am so fucking. I swear to God, if I ever see John Wayne, I'm gonna fucking pimp slap his ass. Where's my baby powder at?
I don't like to. I'm not trying to. I know it's like I hate being in the hallways of the Coliseum, and then you hear the crowd go off, and you're like, "Wait a minute! I just."
And the fucked up part was, I wasn't even close to a TV to see it at that point. I had to see the replay on TV. And then I got to make it to my goddamn seat.
Jason Downs says Dylan Gabriel in the 5th, and he'd probably be there. You know, there's a lot of options in the first round. I'm sorry, a lot of options. And I know the quarterback position is kind of weak when it comes to drafting, but there are still some options.
You know what, though? Jackson Dart is moving up. And from what I hear, he's beating out Shedeur Sanders for that number 2 quarterback spot.
I mean,
okay.
I know Shedeur Sanders made his way. You know, the Raiders hosted him a couple days ago. Yeah.
But
the only
I really expect us, if we choose the quarterback, but we're going to try to cleanse the Juju. We will, just in case. If we try to take the quarterback, it's going to be somewhere in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Well, the only quarterback that was successful for the Raiders.
Hey, I'll do the 4 shots for this topic.
I'm gonna say we can't do more than just one. We can't do less. We can't do only just one. We gotta do more than just one because it's been a horrible. Like we've been bad.
Like I said, we've been incomplete.
Bad.
It doesn't even register. The quarterback class that the Raiders have drafted does not even I mean, come on. The Raiders, we are number 1 when it comes to the worst picks overall in the first round in the quarterback position.
Yes.
First 2 didn't even sign with the fucking team. And then we ended with DeMarcus fucking Russell. And everything in between, Jesus fucking Christ. I don't even know how Mark Wilson really started 126 games.
Here's the thing. We don't even need to grade this because we all know, as a Raider fan, if you follow the team, if you really were dedicated to this team, you don't gotta grade. Because we all know F is being nice. To say that the Raiders have a grade of an F.
No, it's not even an F. It does not register in the American alphabet.
And to Raider Lokes, I'm going to give that. Look at Raider Lokes gets this. Because that is 100% true. Raider Lokes, not only does he have the longest run by a quarterback in NFL history, he has the longest run in Raider history for anybody in general. Terrell Pryor on that play action option run took it to the house. I love Terrell Pryor.
He's a gazelle running down that field.
Terrell Pryor, you know what? I wish Terrell Pryor, I wish his coach wasn't Dennis Allen, because you see what he's doing when it comes to the Saints. I think he got fired. He got fired. So the only quarterback that the Raiders drafted that did anything was Ken Stabler, and Ken Stabler was drafted in 1968 in the 2nd round. Okay, the next one,
finally, he tried to lead the team. He was demoted to the Canadian League, and turn around to be the only drafted Raiders quarterback to fucking do something.
Yeah, exactly. And the next one, I know this is another topic that's 50-50 when it comes to Raider Nation. Derek Carr, stat-wise, is the next one, just under Ken Stabler.
Not under. No,
Derek
not
Carr,
under. Derek Carr has beaten all the Stabler's records.
Well, if you're saying Derek Carr, if you're going by stats, yeah, Derek Carr, he killed it. He got all the records. But as someone that's playoff wins, Super Bowl 11.
Stabler's got the Super Bowl, so
yeah, he's got the ring. So Stabler, it goes Stabler, then it goes Carr. Wait, let me try to get in the camera. Stabler, Carr, and then it's just whatever. It's like, my stepson watches a Godzilla, the new movies.
Okay,
he's Middle Earth.
The rest, right?
Huh?
Only draft. You're talking about only drafting.
Only drafting.
Okay.
Guys that we picked in the draft. It's Stabler way up here. Stabler is on the Mount Rushmore. Gannon was a free agent who tried to prove himself in Kansas City, came to the Raiders. the local media over here, and you notice I saw him because he was in the Oakland area at that time. The local media didn't like Gannon coming to the Raiders. They thought it was like a whatever pick. Gannon elevated his game because he had a coach in John Gruden 1.0 that believed in him. But when it comes to drafted players, the quarterback position needs a double shot. At least.
A double?
If you want to go triple A, we got to make sure that the quarterback position.
I was just asking. You tell me how many shots I got to take.
I'm going to do double because the quarterback position has been, we already know.
Hey, no, see, double, because the only two quarterbacks that were worth a damn that we drafted were both in the second round.
Exactly. So with that, let's go and get this Juju. Asylum, you got to get that snake ready to get this Juju going. So let's all together for the quarterback position in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. But Asylum, we got to do it again because one more time. Oh my God. We sacrifice for the good of the Raiders, okay? One more time. One more time. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. This is painful. But we do it for the Raiders. And all you Raider fans.
Of our team.
All you Raider fans.
Sacrifice.
They want to call us alcoholics and uncontrollable, like whatever. It's because we love our team. And we try to drink away. Oh, God.
Hey,
we try to drink away. Don't break the seal, guys. Okay? We need everyone here in the seance of Al Jobu. Okay? Double slanty Irish for cheers. Sacktown Raider. You're the man. Okay? We got to get it all together and get this going. Now, Asylum. This is, we have the number 6 pick. Now, there's only one man who's been, there's only one person that we drafted that's been the number 1 pick, okay? And he's, and hold on, let me get it right here, okay?
It didn't work
right here. It's burning inside of me, okay? Oh, God.
You got that bubbling going?
You know what? My head is spinning, but it's, you know what? I do it because we're Raider fans. Everybody out there who are Raider fans, we know how it goes, okay? They say, oh, yeah, they're a bunch of, because we got it. We're trying to wash away the bad juju, okay?
Not wash away. We're doing everything we can. It's the voodoo. You have to take the shot.
You have to.
Al Jabu's got his shot sitting right there. You don't fuck with Al Jabu's shot.
Now, Al Jabu does tequila, okay? Because he ain't playing, all right?
No. He's a better man than I am.
Now, yes. Now, oh, right, that's wrong. Sorry, wrong one. Get off. Sorry, my bad. I was trying to delete that. Okay, the number 6 pick. Okay, the number 6 pick. There's only one man that's been number 6.
Who's ever been drafted?
We all know him
by the Raiders.
By the Raiders. We all know him. We all love him. It's this man himself, Tim Brown. 1,094 receptions, 14,934 receiving yards. My chicken sandwiches. Anna's preparing. She's getting ready for next week.
Anna knew what our show was going to be, and she did her part.
Exactly. 100 touchdowns. His 100th came in the Coliseum. He was a Buccaneer, but he did it in the Coliseum. Us Raider, I was there, and I was like, hey. Okay? Tim Brown himself.
You can't do it as the Raider, do it against the Raiders.
But do it on holy ground, which is the Oakland Coliseum.
In Mecca. No, yeah. Oakland Coliseum is Mecca.
Yes. This man right here, Tim Brown, has been our only number 6 pick in Raider history. He has gone through many quarterbacks. Can you name them all? Mark Wilson. Evans. You got Evans. You have I'm forgetting his name. Number three. The Juju is strong with right now with me. Okay. Number 3. Jeff George. You have Rich Gannon. You had Tuiasa Sopo. You had. There's a lot of guys, okay? A lot of guys. Tim Brown made plays, whether it was as a receiver, as a punt returner, kickoff returner. Tim Brown was the man. Number 6 pick overall, Hall of Famer. 26 QBs threw him a touchdown. Jason Downs. You want to talk about know your history?
Hey,
Jason Downs put it there.
QBs.
26 QBs. The closest man to him that we drafted at number 1, I would say, could be Brock Bowers. Okay? With Minshew and O'Connell, Brock Bowers made plays.
Hold on. There was another one.
Who?
Ritter.
And Ritter. Okay? Brock Bowers made plays.
That's just in 1 year.
There should be a Tim Brown Award for saying, no matter how much mess we put you through, you still made plays. The Tim Brown Award goes to Brock Bowers. No matter who's at quarterback, no matter who's a head coach, no matter who's the offensive coordinator, you still made plays. Okay? Tim Brown, number 6. You can go.
Does that give us hope for the number 6 pick? And do we got to do a shot for that one?
We have to make sure that the number 6 pick, the sacred number 6,
is a Tim Brown worthy pick.
Is a Tim Brown worthy pick, because Tim Brown, we all know, there's 2 generations of Raider fans. There's the Jim Otto Mr. Raider generation, and then there's the Tim Brown generation, Mr. Raider. So at number 6, we can have a guy that can be the next Mr. Raider, okay? Asylum. I'm gonna let you at number 6, okay? What do you think about number 6? The number 6 pick. I'm gonna let you do your thing. So here you go.
We've already said it. Number 6. You want the guy to be the number 6? You just talked about the Mr. Raiders, right? The two generations of Mr. Raider. Now, for me, the only Mr. Raider is Jim Otto.
Exactly.
But Tim Brown also had that moniker. So number 6, the next Mr. Raider to be on the offensive line, and that's going to be Armand. I'm sorry, you're right. Armand.
The Juju is strong with you.
Hey, the Juju is strong with me right now. That's the next Mr. Raider that's being drafted at number 6.
Exactly.
Right there. It's the trenches. It's the sexiest pick in the draft. I don't care what anybody says. It's what it's going to be if we choose at number 6. Plain and simple. It's going to be another offensive lineman who's going to get no recognition. He's going to be such a solid fucking player that his name is never said. But by the end of his career, people are going to call him the modern day Mr. Raider.
Exactly.
And even Stabler agrees with me.
Exactly. So, the number 6 pick,
And you know what?
Tim Brown. And we have it at receiver.
I'm gonna go in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller.
Wait, hold on. Wait, wrong one. At receiver, Tim Brown, number 6. The only number 6 pick. Asylum, I'm going to need you to bless this, okay? So we're going to do it right here. Right here. Are you ready? I'm going to need you to say the prayer, okay? Here we go.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. Number 6 is the next Mr. Raider.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Trench
yeah.
Mortar. Vincent knows. And you know what? We're going to keep Vincent's picks. Hold on. I got to get up there. You know what? We do this show for the Juju and make sure the Juju is clean and clear. And the Juju is strong right now because we took about like 8 shots right now, okay? For the Juju. Now, Vincent, right here. I got it. Right here. Vincent is all about the offensive line because he knows that if you have a dominant offensive line, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Look at that. The first 3 rounds in his draft are offensive linemen.
So we got to make sure that Vincent knows. I think Vincent is an undercover scout for the Raiders, okay? He probably were like, no, I just watched the show. I'm just a guy that watches the show. But you know what? Vincent knows, okay? Because Vincent knows our draft was almost similar to his draft, and we have our draft, people's draft right here, okay? Vincent knows the deal. Vincent should be the GM. If not the GM, because that's Spy Tech, Vincent should be the one step just under him.
Yeah, the assistant GM of the Raiders. But
Vincent should be the one that makes the phone call and says, hold on, bro. I picked you. I told Spy Tech. He picked you. Here's Spy Tech. Hey, do you want to be a Raider? Let's go. So here we are.
Do you want to be a Raider? It is, you are a Raider.
Yes.
Be prepared to work your ass off and be the best that we've ever had on the Raiders.
Exactly. And right there, we have cleansed the Juju of the draft. Our Jobu, Oakland Raiders Savage, Asylum, who's been there 16 years. Was it 16?
No, 17.
17 years in the Coliseum, as the Violator calls it, Mecca.
Mecca. No, not just a Violator. I even call the Oakland Coliseum Mecca. When it comes down to it, and they're going to tear Mecca down, but I will still go to that spot anytime I'm in California and pray, because that spot will forever be Mecca when it comes to the Raiders.
And if you're a Raider fan that's out of state, out of Oakland, okay, it doesn't diminish your Raider fandom. If you've been to only one game in the Coliseum, it doesn't diminish because you were there. Even if you've never been to the Coliseum, but you were dedicated to the Raiders. Oakland, LA, Oakland, Las Vegas. It doesn't diminish the fact that you were our Raider fan, because we all suffered through the negativity us as Raider fans, we never jumped ship. We never went to the Patriots, who ran the last 20 years.
Captain. We go down with the ship.
Exactly.
The captain's never going down with this ship alone.
We are like Leonardo DiCaprio on the Titanic. There's a big ass door. But you know what? We froze. Because we are the stepchild. We are the beggar that ended up on the luxury cruise that is the NFL. And we made a name for ourselves. And Rose, who we rammed through in the back of an old school, inside the ship. We ran through her. Okay? We, as Raider fans, it doesn't matter if you've never been to the Coliseum. You watch the games on the baseball infield. You watch the games. So you know what?
You don't understand how much I miss that infield.
Because nobody else had it. Miami was the last other stadium to do so before us. Before we moved to Las Vegas in 2020, the Juju was strong within me. Okay? And if you're a Raider fan and you dealt with all the negativity, all the banter, all the negativity of people trying to say, oh, you're a Raider fan, you're losers and all that, we're here to tell you that we're strong. Raider Nation is strong. Original Black Hole. OBH, okay?
OBH, yeah. The
OBH. Asylum knows. Lot D at the Coliseum, right between the Coliseum and the arena. Go Warriors, who are the number 7 seed. Go Warriors. Asylum knows, okay? He paid for 2 seats. 2 seats. Okay? No, was it 3 seats?
No, it was 2 seats. 2
seats, okay? Asylum knows. He is the guy. And then he was there when Jack Jones got the interception against Patrick Mahomes in that Christmas game in 2023. In Kansas City. They were giving him hell because of his trench coat and his cage. Okay? There is no cage match.
In my cage.
There is no cage match without Asylum, okay? Because he is the cage. That is the cage match. All right? So, with that, we're going to give a last shot.
Oh, hold on.
Because this Juju is strong, okay? The last shot. Asylum with his 2 seats in 120. In section 120, he was right behind the third base side. Oh, I'm spilling. He was right behind the third base dugout of the Oakland Coliseum. Mecca. That Father says, okay, we're going to name him the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And the Holy Roller.
For Jason Downs, La D, the original tailgate of the Black Hole, my dad, the Lowdown Band, the original at the Hilton that is closed down, and I don't know what they're doing to turn it down. Raider fans, 2025, okay? We got to come together and get this team going. I feel like I'm at the Coliseum yelling Raiders when you walk in, and you just walk into the hallways. Raiders. Raider man saying, I am a Raider fan. All you guys who've been to the Coliseum, who are now have been to Allegiant Stadium, all you guys are the ones that make this team go, that make this team that believe in the silver and black, the mystique, Al Davis, the team of all decades, 1960, 1980, 70, 1980, 76, 80, 83. You guys are the one. Next week, Thursday, it's going down. The draft. The present meets the future of the Oakland / LA / Las Vegas Raiders. The Juju is strong. Our Jobu is going to be there to make sure that we pick the next guy that's going to be that dog that follows up Brock Bowers. Asylum, I need you to give a sermon to Raider Nation. What do you got to say for the 2025? Pete Carroll, John Spytek. The floor is yours. Let's go.
All I have to say on that, Pete Carroll, John Spytek, everybody else in the Raider Nation's top office, Tom Brady, Mark Davis, everybody else, don't worry about the quarterback position. We don't have to worry about that. You made your choice in Geno Smith. Go for a guy who's going to be a Raider. Make the smart decision, whether it's trading back. If nobody wants to be that trade partner because they want to offer you crap, then go for that guy like he's a Brock Bowers, an offensive lineman that's going to solidify what you saw my choice of the offensive line. We could change it here or there. We could tweak it here or there. But, championships are won in the trenches. I don't want a 1 year, fuck this 1 year Super Bowl bullshit, this instant gratification that Raider Nation fans who don't understand what we went through when we were the team of the decades. 3 decades we dominated. I want that back. I don't want 1 year. I want a minimum of 10 years. I want to dominate. And it starts in those trenches. Let's get what we need. Let's make the running backs we have on the team. Let's make the running back we draft later in the draft. A running back that nobody saw coming. A quarterback who does not have to worry about his blind side because he knows it's protected. Let it go. Let Chip Kelly be able to write play from play to play. Have a variety of different things. Yeah, exactly. Right there. Charles Woodson started this shit right here. Let's bring the Oakland mystique back in Las Vegas. Let's show Las Vegas what it is to be a Raider. Win in the trenches. The defense is solid. We got things going. Had a piece here or there. But let's get this offense going. Let's give Chip Kelly. Let's give Pete Carroll the players that they need, that they want, that their vision. Let's put their vision on this field. Let it start to gel. It ain't going to be in 1 year. By the end of Pete Carroll's career, his predecessor coming, I want to be dominant at that point. I want 10 plus years. I'm going to say a bad word here. I want to be the Patriots. I want 20 years of dominance. I don't want 1 year. Fuck 1 year. 1 year ain't shit. I want 20 years of dominance. I want everybody looking at the Raiders and saying, I don't want to play that team. That's what I want. And it starts this year. We started last year with Brock Bowers. Let's continue with generational players. Let's continue with the trenches. Let's continue with what made the Raiders great. Offense, defense. We had all the players in position to do their jobs. This is what I want. Not 1 year, Fuck this 1 year bullshit. Let's dominate for 20 plus years. Let's put the Chiefs in their place and show them what it is to be a fucking Raider. My rant is done.
Asylum knows because he was there. Asylum knows because he was there at Mecca. Asylum knows because he was there on Christmas Day when Jack Jones got that interception. Asylum was there
it wasn't
to
just
get
the
that ball.
It was the stare down that he gave Patrick Mahomes. Like he wasn't shit. He wasn't concerned about Patrick Mahomes. He turned around and said, I could do this all fucking day. That's what that interception was about.
Asylum knows because he lives in Kansas City territory and he don't care. Because Asylum is silver and black. Represent.
Now the day I died.
This guy right here, he is my mentor. Asylum. We don't do this show without Asylum. The cage match. He is the man with the cage. Okay? So, 2025, the draft next Thursday, it's going down. Asylum is the one. He is the Morpheus. He's the one. He knows. Okay? And we appreciate those that stayed here and took shots to cleanse the juju of every pick that we can do, whether it's receiver, running back, offensive line, cornerback, number 6, Tim Brown. Asylum is the one. He's the guy that's been there 17 years. And the third base dugout, he was there. Straight up.
I never sat in every seat. My first game till my last game, I sat in the same seat in the Oakland Coliseum.
He was not that far from Aphrodisiac. If you know the Coliseum, if you've been to the Coliseum.
Aphrodisiac. Gloria. She was in my area. I mean, we could go down a list of super fans that past, present, whatever. I've seen them all. I could go, the Pimp. We could go Gorilla Rilla. It don't matter. I've seen them all. I've been a part of it all. Violator. Yeah. It's been a long road. It's been a long road. I know them all.
And me, I was there at the beginning of the Black Hole. My dad, the Lowdown Band, Sundays, Friday and Saturday night at the Hilton before they closed down. Okay, they hosted Tim Brown, they hosted Jay Rice, they hosted Raymond Chester, Jack Tatum. They were there.
Run Jones.
Run Jones was there he was there at the bar with his 3 rings, and he had a young girl next to him.
Don't forget about the encyclopedia of Raider Nation, Raider Mort.
Raider Mort. Don't ever forget Raider Mort.
If you was a true Raiders fan in Oakland, you know about Raider Mort.
Everybody else had a replica ring, but Raider Mort had the real 76 Super Bowl 11 ring. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Raider Mort is the encyclopedia of the Raiders.
This is all about the history of the Raiders, okay? And all you guys who are diehard Raider fans, whether it is 40, 50, 60 plus years or are brand new in the Las Vegas area, if you're diehard, you are part of the family. Asylum knows. 2 seats in 120 behind the dugout. Asylum knows with his snake The snake, exclamation point Stabler. Okay? Let's get this going. 2025, Pete Carroll. You're from the Bay Area. We need you to get this going. Asylum, I'm going to have you close out the show because you are the prophet. You are the guy that knows.
Up the show.
Raider Mecca.
You have to close it out. But we will end this show like we do every show with somebody who loved the Raiders as much as the rest of us, who was there on the visitors' sideline, talking his shit, getting in the other player, the visiting team players' heads, and Raider Savage's coach. Everyone knows him as Raider Mill.
Raider Mill.
Savage knows him as Coach Wallace.
Coach Wallace.
And what you're going to see is how every Raiders fan feels at every Raiders game, regardless of how the game's going. What he says is the heart of the fucking Raiders.
We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away from the history of the Oakland Raiders. The
And that's
Mecca.
what it comes down to. This show is about nothing but the history of the Raiders. Oakland,
Exactly.
LA, Oakland, or Las Vegas. It's about the history of the Raiders.
Exactly. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. For Coach Wallace, my high school football coach, Raider Mill, this is in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Roller. We'd like to thank you, everybody, for watching our show. We appreciate it. Asylum appreciates it. This show doesn't happen without Asylum, Mr. Jim Otter himself. So we're going to end the show. And for Jeff, who has this show right now, this is for you, Jeff, right here. Let me get it going. Where is that right here? Jeff! Where's it at? Hold on. Wait.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the Bob Uecker. Play it for me, please.
Did you get rid of it? I don't see it.
It's right here. I got it right here.
Take over, Monty. I'm in the bag.
Me?
All you other NFL teams, your tailgates are weak. Your teams are weak. We might be down right now, but it doesn't take away the history. And all you Raiders out there need to know your fucking history of who the fuck you playing for and where the fuck you're playing. Damn it. Oh, and by the way, I won my last cage fight. Again, I'm still undefeated. And you NFL motherfuckers out there that you think you want some, come on and get some anytime.